Welcome to the deep dive. We jump right into fascinating topics, aiming to give you that shortcut to being genuinely well informed. Today, we're looking at something vital, something that's, well, usually completely hidden from view, the tiny bits that make our whole electronic world function. Our focus is the female headers market trends and future opportunities. It's an in-depth look, and it's based on a pretty comprehensive recent report from Cognitive Market Research. And our mission, simple, really, to get a quick, solid understanding of what these things are, the market situation now, what's pushing their growth, the hurdles they face, and what cool innovations are coming up. Getting those aha moments without getting bogged down.
Exactly. And it's just so fundamental to grasp these components. They really are the building blocks of modern electronics. Understanding their role gives you this powerful insight into where technology itself is heading.
Okay, let's unpack it then. Before we get into market trends and all that, what exactly are female headers? The name sounds a bit abstract, maybe something only an engineer might recognize.
Well, yeah, they're definitely essential in that world. Female headers are vital components in electronics, in the electrical industries. They serve as these crucial connectors for all sorts of electrical circuits. Think of them like a precise interface, okay? They're typically used for linking devices to printed circuit boards.
Yeah.
PCBs or maybe other modules. They enable really efficient electrical connection. Design-wise, they have these precise sockets. These allow male headers to plug right in.
Ah, okay.
And that creates this seamless, secure connection between different electronic bits.
Got it. So they're kind of the quiet workhorses letting everything talk to each other. It sounds like they're used everywhere. Could you give us a sense of just how versatile they are? Where might we find them? Maybe in surprising places.
Oh, their versatility is a huge part of their story, absolutely. You find them across a really wide range of industries. High-speed data and telecoms relies on them. Complex control systems in cars, precision machines in industrial automation, even the consumer electronics, in your pocket.
Right, everywhere.
And the design isn't like one size fits all. They come in different configurations. Single row, double row types are common. Plus, they're made from different materials. Things like brass or gold or tin. And these aren't just random choices.
Okay.
Brass is, cost effective, pretty reliable. Gold is often for those really critical uses where you need top-notch corrosion resistance and signal integrity.
Right.
And tin's a good all-around economical option.
Yeah.
Each one is picked specifically for conductivity and durability for whatever it's being used for.
Okay, so we know they're critical, but what's the market actually look like? The data. What does it tell us about the scale, the trajectory here? I'm curious about the economic footprint of these sort of unsung heroes and where things are headed in the next few years.
Sure. So in 2024, the global female headers market, it was valued at approximately XX million US dollars.
Okay.
Now, that might not sound like a massive number compared to some sectors, but it's projected to grow. The compound annual growth rate, the CAGR, is forecast at 4.0%.
4%, okay.
Which means it's expected to reach around XX million dollars by 2032. And what's really interesting about this growth isn't just the number, it's how these foundational parts are quietly enabling totally new tech frontiers. Especially as devices get smarter, more integrated. The main fuel for this expansion, it's the rising demand for electronic devices just everywhere, particularly in automotive, consumer electronics, and telecoms. Places where having robust, efficient connectors isn't just nice to have, it's absolutely essential.
That makes total sense. So everything from the phone in your pocket to the systems in your car, and it's not just more devices, right? It's also that they're getting smaller but more powerful, that relentless miniaturization trend and the demand for just better connectivity solutions, those are pretty big forces.
Huge. And we're also seeing, the continued rise of automation and electrification across industries. Think about the electric vehicle sector, the EV beam. These trends are expected to really push the adoption of female headers even more in the coming years. They're becoming genuinely indispensable for future tech development.
Okay, so with that kind of growth, who are the big players? Regionally and company-wise, who's leading this market?
Right. Regionally, North America is currently dominant, holds about 35% of the total market share as of 2024.
35%. Wow.
Yeah, mostly because of its really well-established electronics manufacturing and significant R&D investment. Europe's next, with around 30%. That's driven by advanced automotive, strong industrial sectors, plus telecoms and aerospace.
Okay.
But the really dynamic region is Asia-Pacific. Its current share is about 25%, but it's growing the fastest.
Ah.
That's down to rapid industrialization, huge consumer electronics demand, and expanding car manufacturing, especially in places like China, Japan, South Korea. In fact, the Asia-Pacific market is projected to see the highest CAGR, about 5.0%, and its share is expected to hit maybe 28% by 2025. Tells you a lot about where future manufacturing and demand are shifting.
That's a pretty significant shift on the global map, yeah. And competitively, sounds like a tough market. Which companies are really leading the charge?
The report points to Harding, Panasonic, and JAWSCO, Ltd. As major players. In 2024, Harding had roughly 13% market share,
Okay.
followed by Panasonic with 10%, and JAWSCO, Ltd. holding about 8%. And their strategies, well, they're focusing on constant innovation, pouring money into R&D, plus doing mergers, acquisitions, strategic partnerships, all to expand their product lines and global reach.
Standard playbook for growth.
Pretty much. And competition's expected to get even hotter, especially in those booming Asia-Pacific markets by 2025. So we'll likely see even more innovation because of that pressure.
And compared to other types of connectors, you mentioned female headers dominate something like 40% share in 2024. That's way ahead of screw terminals at 30% and wire to board at 20%. Why are they so dominant? What gives them that edge?
That's a great point. That edge really comes down to their compact design, the reliability, and just sheer versatility. Plus, think about the growing need for high-performance connectors in cars,
Yeah.
especially with EVs taking off,
Right.
and that ongoing miniaturization in consumer electronics. All those trends favor female headers. Their market share is actually tipped to increase a bit, maybe to 42% by 2025.
42%.
Yeah, driven by demand for durable, space-saving connectors in telecoms, industrial automation, robotics. It really speaks to their unique mix of being physically efficient and electrically solid.
But even booming markets face hurdles, right? What are the big roadblocks for female headers? What could slow down this growth?
Absolutely. One key limitation that comes up is their environmental sensitivity. Temperature swings, for instance. They can cause the materials in the headers to expand and contract. That can lead to poor connections or even outright failures. It's especially tricky in high-temperature situations. Less robust materials can suffer from something called solder joint fatigue, basically. The connection points get weaker from repeated expansion and contraction. Big issue in automotive and aerospace, where things have to work reliably across a huge temperature range.
I can imagine.
And then there's mechanical stress. Vibrations, physical shocks, common in industrial settings or cars, can mess with the connector's integrity. You get reduced signal quality, maybe failures.
Like on a train or factory floor?
Exactly.
Yeah.
High-speed trains, mining gear, industrial robots,
Mm.
they all need super durable connectors. And of course, things like moisture and dust getting in if the sealing isn't perfect. That degrades performance outdoors or in humid places.
So the environment's a big factor, but that brings up another point. How does that relentless miniaturization trend impact these tiny things? Is it a challenge making them smaller but still reliable?
Oh, it absolutely creates pressure. The market demands connectors that are both incredibly small and highly reliable.
Yeah.
They need to handle higher currents, faster data speeds, and still be durable. It's like, it makes me think of trying to wire up my old stereo, always a nightmare. But they're doing this on a microscopic level. These constraints can sometimes limit where they're used, especially if you need extremely high-density connections or really advanced performance.
Okay, so weighing all that.
Yeah.
What's the future look like for female headers? Given the challenges, what kind of exciting advancements can we actually expect?
Well, we can definitely project significant tech advances. Innovations in material science, for one. Things like high-temperature alloys, better corrosion-resistant coatings.
To boost reliability. It's exactly. Making them last longer and perform better in those tough environments we talked about. And there'll be ongoing work on design optimization, making them smaller still, but also capable of handling more power. What's really exciting, though, is their integration with next-gen tech. Female headers look set to be critical in things like photonic circuits and advanced communication systems.
Photonics, wow.
Yeah, as the demand for super high-speed data and low-latency connections keeps growing, these components will be vital for optical communication networks, high-frequency signal processing, that kind of thing.
So really cutting-edge applications.
Definitely. And beyond that, manufacturing improvements, maybe 3D printing, more automation, those could lower production costs and allow for more customization. That could open up totally new uses, even more specialized components.
So that miniaturization trend we keep mentioning, that's just going to keep pushing things forward. Headers designed specifically for smartphones, wearables, the whole IoT universe. Precisely. and the need for tougher, higher-performing connectors. That's going to keep driving developments in corrosion resistance, high temp tolerance, handling all those environmental stresses. Ultimately, the female header market will just keep evolving. It has to meet the demands from automotive, telecoms, industrial, consumer electronics. It really shows how even a foundational component has to constantly innovate to stay relevant in this fast-changing tech world.
Yeah, it's quite a journey. From what seems like a simple hidden part, we've really uncovered this dynamic market, driven by huge tech trends, facing real challenges with environment and size, but still poised for some incredible innovation. The real aha for me is how these tiny things aren't just, going along for the ride with tech growth, they're actively shaping it. It proves that even in our increasingly wireless world, good old physical connections are still absolutely critical.
Couldn't agree more. And for the companies in this space, the takeaways seem pretty clear. They've got to focus on tackling those environmental issues, dealing with the miniaturization pressure, keep investing in R&D, streamline production, and build those strategic partnerships. That's the key for long-term success. It's all about adaptation and looking ahead.
Absolutely. So next time you pick up your phone or think about an electric car, maybe give a thought to those unseen female headers inside. They're truly foundational to, well, pretty much the entire landscape of modern electronics. A powerful reminder, isn't it, that the biggest technological leaps often rely on the smallest, most reliable connections. And it makes you wonder, what other hidden components are out there quietly shaping our future?